Hey guys, Voight here with another tutorial for VoigtlandMC, this time for warps. Now to get started, we need to learn a few commands about warps. First main command is going to be warp help. So warp help will give you a list of commands that you can use to set warps, privatize warps, claim them, identify them, and change messages about them. So let's get started here. There are two kinds of warps. There are custom warps that have just about any name you can think of, and then there is a personal warp with your name. Personal warps come with specific ranks on various servers. Custom warps, just about anybody can own. Let's start by setting a personal warp, and that is just simply set warp. Nothing else. And this will set a warp right on the spot you're standing on. We can test that very easily by going warp Voigtman, since that's my name. And I have been warped to Voigtman. Welcome to Voigtland. Now we can privatize that warp by doing set warp-p. And what this means is now I am the only person with access to this warp. If I want another person to have access to this warp, I can type in warp invite. Now if we think of this as a sentence, so we warp invite somebody to the warp. So I'm going to invite Alluvian Knight, Alluvian Monkey to Voigtman, because I like him. He's a nice guy. Now he can come help me out building my farm, or better yet, Skylands. We got to get this done. Now I can easily see, we can type in warp info Voigtman, that's the name of the warp, and see that he is an invited player, and we can even see where the warp is located in case we somehow forget and we need to get back there for some reason, or the warps are down or something. Anyhow, let's move on. Now, let's say for some reason you want to uninvite somebody. There is any number of reasons for that. You just simply type warp uninvite that person to that warp, and now that removes them from having access to your warp. It's now private just for you again. Now, the other type of warp is a warp purchased by going through our /donate buy craft store, and you'll get what's called a warp credit. You can easily see how many warp credits you have by typing in warp assets. And what this will tell you and show you here is it has your UUID. It has how many credits you have. It shows you how many public warps or private warps you currently have and where they're located. Now it shows you that I have 10. So that means I can come over here, and let's say I want to type in, to claim a warp, it's warp claim, and then you type in the warp name, the name that you want to give this warp. So I'm going to type in warp claim view, because this has a nice view. Isn't it a great view? So now I have successfully created, tongue twister, successfully created warp view. And again, we can type in warp assets. We can see that my warp credits have reduced by 1. And we can go to warp view and see that lovely, beautiful view. Again, welcome to View Voigtman. That's the custom message that comes up. We can change that for any warp that we own by typing in set warp MSG for message and the name of the warp. So view here. Don't type anything else. Now you can do hashtag none to remove the message altogether. You can do hashtag cancel if you just want to cancel this, or you can type in a new message. Now color codes do not work in this, so the message will always be white. Let's make it say, just look at that view. And now that is, let's clear our chat. Just look at that view. That's our message. Isn't that great? That's lovely. All right. Now, why do we have all these commands? Gosh. We want to give you as many options and as much control over your warps as possible so that you don't need us to come help you. The only time you should need admin help now is if you screw up the spelling of the name of your warp and you just need it to be changed. That we can do easy too. Let's go back to warp help here. there is a couple of commands here. Warp claim, I've showed you how to do that. Warp move, and warp public and private. All right, so your custom warps can be privatized and publicized too. Warp private view. Now, I'm the only one that has this beautiful view. None of you do. Again, you can invite people. You can type in warp public. And now it's public. This is helpful if you go and buy, buy some extra warps. You can say you buy 10 of them or something. And you just want to set them so that you have them set somewhere. You've already determined a name, but you haven't finished building the build. But you need quick access to get there. You can privatize it, and then once it's public, you can publicize it, and it's easy enough. Let's see, one more thing. Warp move. We can move the warp over to a different location. You don't need admin help for that either. I think that's just about everything I've got to show you here. Warp list, I think everybody knows what that does. Warp help, that shows this. And let's move on to stage 2, setting up the pressure plates and signs. All right, we're back here. I've got a simple setup over here to show you how to use warp signs. First, I'm going to place one on this gray wool right here. We'll go down to the second line. We'll put a bracket, warp, close that bracket, name of the warp. So I'm going to put in Voigtland here. And that will make a warp sign for warp Voigtland. I'm going to move my warp over here, set warp. And now that has made a public warp right here, so players can come along and click the sign just like that and access this warp. I can place a button or a lever on this. Now, if you put it on the side, nothing will happen. It has to be on the back side of the block that the sign is on. So facing the sign, but on the back side. And you just give it a click, and off you go. This has a benefit of hiding the sign if you want to put it behind a wall. And you could just put a little sign above it or beside it or whatever that says, come to my secret shop or what have you. The other thing is you can also make warp plates. To do this, very similar. Sign goes down below. Again, second line, type in warp in brackets, close those brackets, and then Voigtland there, that's my warp. Here's where it gets tricky. We have to put the block right above the sign. Oops, don't click the sign. You might have to crouch to, stupid. All right, we'll do this. That'll make it easy enough. All right, so this block is directly above that sign. Currently, you can only use wooden or stone pressure plates. That will be updated in a future release, but this is what we have access to right now. So again, it hides that sign. You can place this flush inside a floor, and players won't have any access to knowing what sign you have down below there, unless you keep your warp publicized with the name you see over there. So that is how the redstone works and how the warp signs work. If you guys have any questions, feel free to look me up in the forums. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.